All right, welcome to the Kiwi Chiropractic podcast. My name is Andrew, and today I'm with,
I'm Louisa. Hi, I'm a CA here at Kiwi.
and she's got the challenge of she's going to grill me on this topic of how golf relates to chiropractic. And it's Louisa's first time kind of doing some recording podcasts like this, so go easy on her. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the pressure. I see you have a whole list of questions printed out, so I'm hoping, at least in English, that I'll be able to answer them to the best of my ability. But golf, we have a lot of golfers in the practice, so we want to kind of make a bit of a podcast about why that is. There's also a scientific study that was made specifically for golfers, which we'll talk about a bit later on, so stick around. Far away.
You just told me that you play golf. I actually didn't know this.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what's your most memorable experience on the golf course?
So I think maybe playing golf is a bit übertrieben, is a bit much, but I hit a ball. It maybe started like 5 years ago. I would go to the driving range, which is just where you hit the ball as far as you can. And I would go with a friend of mine, Zach from Australia, and we'd go at 8 o'clock at night where there's nobody else there, and we would just try to hit the ball as far as we can. And he could hit the ball so hard that there were like sparks coming off the matting.
Wow.
And and so that's kind of how it developed. And but now maybe I play like maybe, I don't know, 5 times a year or something.
Yeah.
And memorable. Well, there's a few things. A lot of frustration. Losing a lot of balls was a big one. So like I ended up finding a place where you can just buy balls that are secondhand, and so you don't worry about losing them. So yeah.
The most golf that I've played is mini golf.
Mini golf, yeah.
And I'm not great at it. I'm usually good at aiming, I would say,
Yeah.
but I think this is one thing. This is the hand coordination that I'm not great at, but it's also
Maybe this could be a next team event for us.
Yeah. Ooh,
The driving range, or there's a place in Oberhausen called Top Golf, and
I've heard about this.
and apparently I've never been there, but apparently it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And I like to do team events where I'm good at things as well, because we took the team go-kart racing, and I finished last, and that was not ideal.
Yeah, let's not do that. I'm scared of that.
Something was wrong with my car. I'm still sour from it. Something was definitely wrong with my car.
All right, but what do you see in the practice members that come in that play golf? What are some issues they face?
Yeah, so interesting with golf, or as a movement, for nearly every golfer, it's always the same, right? And so there's actually a specific type of twisting and posture that comes from playing golf, which is quite interesting. You'll get a range of stuff. I had a lady a couple weeks ago, she actually broke her leg playing golf. A small break, but a small one. I had a lot of the times it's about a lot of stiffness around the shoulders. So because there's a lot of rotation happening with golf, flexibility of the way the shoulder girdle works is very, very important. Kind of that's normally why people are coming in for golf. What's interesting is they often notice performance increases. So they might be coming in because they're not feeling super comfortable. But what's super interesting is getting them through that and then getting some big results afterwards. So, for example, I had a lady, she started at the start of this year, chiropractic, and something about the shoulder, we adjust the spine to get the nerve system going better. And all of a sudden, she was already really good at golf with quite a low handicap. But funnily enough, if you can move your arms more, you actually play better golf, right? Because you can swing further and more controlled. So yeah, range of issues, and it's always interesting to work with sports people, even golfers.
So if there was one part of the body that you say would be the most important to look at with a golfer, what would it be?
Can I say 2?
No.
Damn it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, if it was 1, I would probably say it's like right at the point between the neck and the shoulders. So where your mid back comes towards your neck and your shoulders hit the middle. Because with golf, it's such a stress point. So the way the golfers stand is they actually have one shoulder a little higher than the other, and then you're just literally trying to repeat this motion the whole time. The second spot, if I'm allowed to say a second spot, I hope I am, is the sacrum, so in German the Kreuzbein. And it's very interesting because it will often twist in a particular way that is almost exclusive to golf, or it's actually similar to when people play handball. So if you imagine throwing with your hand, creating that kind of spiral of rotation going through the body. And so, like, I've had people on the table and they haven't told me they play golf, and you go, looking at your hips, it looks like you maybe you play golf, and they go, yeah, actually I do. So yeah, which is so sacrum and between the neck, the upper back, and the shoulders.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after you adjust them, do you give them any tips on what to look at, what to be more careful with?
I mean, it depends what level of golfer they are. So if somebody's kind of not a great golfer, it's more about giving them tips of how to avoid things going wrong. So one of the biggest things that can go wrong when you're playing golf is you actually, especially if you're training on a hard surface, you actually hit the club into the ground instead of hitting the ball. And imagine if you're swinging as hard as you can, right, into the ground, that force goes up the shaft into your arms, and then boom, it's going to hit that base of the neck as well.
Or if you don't hit anything, if you just hit straight air, that is not great.
That is also the case.
That would be me.
We'll see when we go to Top Golf. But yeah, so that's always a great tip. Another tip is always make sure, if you're a new golfer, to make sure you're wearing proper grippy shoes, because that's, for example, how this lady broke her leg just from literally slipping because of all this rotational twisting force that's going on. And then even for professional golfers, it's about the basics. Like, are you actually warming up? And how are you warming up? Because the amount of people that just kind of just go into it without actually getting the body loose and loosey-goosey, it's can be a big issue. Then you might see other stuff going on, like in terms of their posture. So maybe you want to give them some specific kind of things that they can do. And I'm not a physio, I'm not a personal trainer, so I don't give kind of specific exercises, right? But it's
I was about to ask you what if I had 5 minutes as a golfer to warm up, what would you recommend?
So I'm a big fan of starting out slow. So I think in golf there's two things you really want to warm up. It's your hip flexors, because a lot of these people, they've been sitting down all day and the hips get really tight. So going into a squat position, raising one hand up, raising the other hand up, that would be definitely one thing to do. You could also do it with having your knee on the ground and your weight forwards. A little bit hard to show in a podcast setting, unless you want me to get up on the table and stuff. I don't think it would support my weight. And then the second thing would be, I'm a big fan of doing your swing really, really slowly, but holding two clubs. So what you're doing is you're doing it with more weight. So you're actually starting to activate all of those muscles. So you actually slowly swing as you naturally would, but also the reverse as well, which can be pretty good. Interestingly, I was talking to a pro golfer, and he said back in the 80s, he's a right-handed golfer, and kind of as a joke, I said to him, like, oh yeah, your body's pretty twisted. You can see him standing like this, so with one shoulder higher. And I said, oh, you should have, played left-handed sometimes. He's like, yeah, we did. Yeah, that was part of our ausgleich. That was part of our balance of what we used to do. But apparently that's gone a little bit out of fashion, because obviously with golf you also need different clubs. But pretty interesting to notice that number one, that they used to do it, but also that it didn't really work because they still had dominance on one side.
Because you obviously play way more on the other hand, and it doesn't do anything or nothing much, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of maintaining, what would you suggest someone who plays golf comes in, warms up, but still has issues?
Yeah, so maybe this is an interesting one to really talk about. So there was a chiropractic study, a very small one, done on some golfers in Brazil. Okay, so I don't know, it's like a small study in Brazil, and it was in 2009, so pretty recent actually. And what they did is they took a group of people who play golf, they kind of split them into two parts, and over 4 weeks, one of the group was given a specific stretching routine to do, and then the other group was given the exact same stretching routine, plus they got adjusted once a week for 4 weeks. So, which is not a lot, right? That's only 4 times, and so I would consider that to be a pretty small series of adjustments, right? So you're making more kind of neurological changes than structural changes at this time frame and at this intensity. And interestingly, what they found was at the end of that 4 weeks, the group that just did the stretching, they actually improved. They could actually hit the ball half a meter further, which was quite interesting. and because obviously there's also a natural progression as well. But the group that did stretching plus these 4 sessions of adjustment hit the ball 8 meters longer on average, which is a very significant difference. Again, a very small study, right? But it does make sense with other studies that we've seen that have recently come out talking about when you get adjusted, the brain is able to coordinate the movements of the body better, and it's more able to get more neural information into the muscles that already exist. So it's fascinating. I mean, I think 8 meters for someone who's not a golfer is not that exciting, but you know, one of the ladies I had in the practice, she said she can hit it, I think she said 30 meters further after 6 months, part of having the shoulder looser and that kind of thing as well. So I always make a joke with people that when they golf, you know, I'm entitled to 1/3 of the prizes that they get. The problem is they normally only win a keychain or something. So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So stretching is a part of this. We also in our app, right? We can send our patients or our practice members exercises. So I think that's always really helpful. What I hear is that people actually use it, and it's helpful.
It's been pretty cool with that. So I was checking the stats before, and I think we have over 500 users of the Kiwi app, which is pretty cool. Now this is a big uptake, and like you say, we have the ability to send specific exercises and information. So we could even send this podcast to people, or a snippet of it, you know. Or we can also send people their posture analysis, so you can have it there on your phone. So that you know more about your body. So yeah, it's a good point to bring up.
Yeah. Anything else that you could recommend, like any resources for people to look at when they're interested in this topic?
Well, I would definitely say if you're interested in golf, go to a trainer. Don't do what I did and not take lessons, because that is not good on your body. So don't do that. But also, I always think what's fascinating is, if you're already a practice member and you start playing golf, tell your chiropractor what you're doing, because then they can actually watch to see how does your body react, how does it change, you know. And at the same time, if you're already a golfer and you come to the practice, it's very interesting to see exactly what training sessions have the biggest impact on your body, right? So I had one lady, and long time golfer, but significant issues in her hips and in the sacrum, which we talked about before. And everything was going swimmingly, everything's great. And then something, I was like, man, Mrs. Smith, you know, we use that name, generic. You know, what did you do in your training? This is crazy. And she goes, well, I did driver training. So that's when we try and hit it as far as you can. And then we found for her that she needed to be exceptionally careful when it came to that, because you also use a slightly different swing, different technique. But kind of getting that information, you kind of put the pieces together of how to best look after your body while you're playing golf. Yeah.
Interesting. I can see myself there, because I do Thai boxing, right?
Oh, so, sure.
I feel like, you know, the stance,
100%.
That is my issue here.
Yeah.
So definitely, when I go for, I don't know, I went for some weeks without training because I had surgery on my leg. Yeah. And after I started again, I felt being more tense because, first of all, body has to adjust back to it, but also, you know, is a lot of things happening.
Perfect. I mean, and so like also with boxers as well, you have a favorite side. You know, I always ask the martial artists, like, do you use both sides? They go, yeah. And then I go, what's your strongest hand? And they go, definitely this one. and you kind of training yourself in this position. And it's the same as like when you work with a hairdresser who's often in this position here, and that's why their clavicle is always up on one side. So, you know, getting, and maybe it's a good point to bring out, like, because people often ask, is it normal to have imbalances in the body? And I would say yes, but it's not normal that your brain doesn't reset it back to its status quo. And so the issue is, when you were younger, you could probably play golf or do your boxing, and then you finish and you go back to normal. The issue is when you're sitting down at your desk and you're still kind of in this position that you probably shouldn't be in. So kind of resetting the body through the nerve system. Right?
Yeah, great. So is there anything else that you would want to take golfers to take to heart?
I heard this stat. I think it's very important. So Alicia did this talk with Yasmin in the practice about professional sports people and the utilization of chiropractic. And I heard a stat the other day that 3 out of 4 professional golfers use regular chiropractic care. So in Germany, chiropractic is still a bit of this mystery, and we're trying to get rid of that. But it's incredibly common for people who are looking to perform at their best, decrease chance of injury, and have longevity in whatever sport that they are doing or playing at the time. Yeah.
It's important to get, the help you need to be better, to feel better, and to be able to perform better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And a lot of the times, a lot of the golfers, you're typically playing it towards the later stages in your life. It's how it's associated, right? So, if you've worked through your life and you're coming into your retirement and you want to play golf, like you've just worked through your life, like let's make sure your body is good in those times when you actually need to be enjoying and to genießen the whole experience of everything. So, and there was a study that came out and said golfers live on average 5 times longer. Yeah.
I think I should start golfing.
You definitely should start golfing.
No more boxing.
Well, maybe save the golfing for a little bit later.
Okay.
Later in life.
When I'm your age.
When you're my age, yes, exactly. I know. But it's funny, in New Zealand, there's a lot of young golfers. It's like, I think the barrier to entry is much lower. So you just turn up to the course. You can even take a beer on the course if no one's watching. And, the mates will get out there and they'll play golf. But in Germany, it's definitely more kind of this older crowd at this stage. Or shall I say middle-aged crowd for those who are watching and playing golf.
Do you have any funny stories though? Like any funny injuries? I know it sounds terrible
funny injuries
to ask,
okay.
But something you would have never expected to see.
Something I'd never expect to see. I mean, what I would go for is more something that happened on the golf course like a couple of weeks ago, which is where there is this idea that golfers are very kind of pretentious and stuff, right? Now, I would say most of them are not, but I had 2 weeks ago the experience that some of them really are. Okay, and I had this experience where my mate, me and Freddie were at the golf course. We're at our time. You have a time to start, so we're just waiting there, ready for our time to go. Just waiting for the people in front of us to leave. And there's 3. I'm going to call them elderly. Germans come past us, and there's one guy. He's not smiling at all, and I thought maybe he's had a stroke or something. So I didn't want to, I was just, hello, good morning, Morgan. Yeah, Morgan. I was like, oh, that's not good. When did that happen? Kind of thing. He hadn't had a stroke. That's just his personality. And he got to the box, and I was about 10 meters behind him with my 2 clubs doing my warm up. And I'm just gently going through the motion. I'd driven, 45 minutes, running late because of traffic. So I'm doing my little warm ups, and he just turns around and he goes, and they cut ahead of us. So they cut ahead of us, right? And so we're going, what is this guy doing? Kind of thing. And he goes, stop moving. He doesn't even say, please stop moving. And I was like, okay, here we go, right? And so they tee off and they go in front of us. And me and Freddie like, what is going on? Because we've never...
That's all he said? Stop moving?
That's all he said. And we'd never experienced this on a golf course. And I'm going, why is this guy in front of me? And so then the problem is that led to a series of unfortunate events. And so they started, they were halfway down, but then there was other people ahead of them, and Freddie was like, put his arms up in the air. They were 100 meters away, like, why are they waiting, kind of thing. They've obviously seen that and said, we're waiting for these people, or something. And then later on, like maybe 10 minutes later, I was pretty close to where he was hitting his first shot off the tee. I was hitting a smaller shot, a wedge shot, because I stuffed it up, obviously. And then I hit it, and I really stuffed it up. And so, bugger, And just as I said that, I heard ting, and he hit his ball. Which means that I was talking in the middle of his swing, And he goes into it, I'm sick of this,
Wow.
And it was obviously completely unintentional, right? Yeah. And then what happened was Freddie, it was a cold day, and Freddie forgot how far he can hit the ball. And so we get to that tee box, and we see them there, way in the distance, and we don't play this course very often, so we don't know how far it is. And he goes, I should be right. Puts the ball up, and because the last time we played at this course, he really didn't play that well. He won't mind me saying. He couldn't hit the ball very far. But of course, in this particular moment, where there's the 3 of them kind of lined up there, he's absolutely smashed it. He's hit it perfect. and the balls landed between them.
Oh God.
And so,
no.
Thank God, right? And so then we get there and the ball is up on a little tee, which we'd never seen before, but that's kind of showing like you played it too close to us, which is fair. That was completely his fault, I'll say on that one. But yeah, that was kind of the series of unfortunate events. And I was like, come on, we're playing for fun here. We're not playing in a competition. But that kind of stuff, I guess it can happen on a golf course, but it shouldn't. And I hope that golf becomes a bit more kind of easier to get into it and just, starting at the driving range, etc. So
I think the Top Golf thing is definitely something that makes people less afraid. Maybe to start.
Yeah, definitely. And it should.
And a lot of young people as well. I see my friends going there.
Okay, so next team event then.
Next team event.
And it's stacked in my favor because I already played a bit. This is perfect.
Right. I think I will take secret lessons from someone for some reason. I don't want to lose. I hate losing.
Yeah, I don't know what they did to my go-kart. I don't know. Must have had less power. The tires or something. I don't know. All right. Should we call it a day?
I think so.
Awesome. Thanks very much for interviewing. How was your experience on the first podcast?
Great. I'm calm. I listened to you. I asked my questions.
Yeah, they're great.
And I've learned something today, and I hope our viewers did too.
I hope so too. So what should the viewers do? They should follow our Instagram, which Louisa does a lot of work on as well.
And Anna.
Exactly, for the videos and the reels. And we've got these talks coming up in the practice, advanced talks. And other than that, looking forward to hearing everybody soon.
Read our newsletter again on running and chiropractic and sports and chiropractic. Very interesting.
Awesome.
And we'll see you in the practice.
All right, until next time. Bye guys. See ya.